dust has finally settled and the ruling National Democratic Congress can look forward to its scheduled National Delegate Congress on Saturday in Kumasi. Afram Plain North MP Emmanuel Abuaji DDA today withdrew a case he filed at an Accra High Court restraining his party from going ahead with portions of Saturday's Congress. His lawyer says he withdrew in the interest of party unity. But is that all there is to it? Obviously, he might have withdrawn the case for the sake of party unity, but is that all there is? And as the party dines at the political stronghold of its biggest opposition, what is the NDC's grand strategy to break down the opposition stronghold? This is today's big story with me, Stephen Enti. Now, as was heavily anticipated, Emmanuel Abuaji DDA pulled the plugs on what would have been a big distraction for his party as he yielded to the party's good instead of his selfish interest by withdrawing a pending suit before the Accra High Court. The Afram Plains North MP has set into motion an energetic, united NDC as it storms its opposition stronghold. What significance is his withdrawal, and what could have informed the MP to shelve his own ambitions for the collective good of his party? We're getting on to the telephone lines now to speak to Mr. DJ's lawyer, Bright Obingmenu, on what instructions he received from his clients before the decision to withdraw. Good evening, sir, and thanks for your time.
Good evening.
So, what happened? What reasons did he give for withdrawing the case at this material moment?
Well, when we went to court this morning, I spoke to my client, and he told me that my instruction when I go to court to have the application and the whole to withdraw or to continue.
Right.
I tried to find out, and he was telling me that it's in the interest of the party. He thinks should put his weight behind one of the candidates. So
I see.
You go ahead with this application. It might disrupt the whole Congress. And then he doesn't want it like that. So in the interest of the party, he decided to withdraw the whole.
I see, but he didn't give you any more specifics as to exactly what reason and which particular candidate he was putting his weight behind. Did he say that?
Yes, he did. I think it's right of the court. He announced that he supports him together.
Okay.
For the national organization.
All right, so
I
see. I see. We'll be trying to get Kofi Adams to get a quick response from him on this gesture, what appears to be gesture. But let's look at it this way. You as a lawyer, as you were going into today's hearing, were you anticipating that perhaps at the last minute your client would instruct you to withdraw, or he did this not in the last moment?
No, I wasn't expecting that.
So
that's the decision.
I see.
And my question, so I'm bound by the decision.
I see. We'll be grateful, Lawyer Obingmenu, if you could raise your voice a bit. We appreciate that you are on the road traveling, but we'd like to hear you a little more clearly. So let me ask you again. I know that as a lawyer, you had your strategy for this case. Perhaps you had already outlined your defense, what you were going to say in defense to pursue your client's case. If the client had gone ahead, what were your predictions? Would it have perhaps stalled the Congress, or were you expecting that a decision, a final ruling would have been made today?
Yes, the final ruling would have been made today. And I was expecting it to go in my favor, actually. If I wasn't expecting it to go into our favor, I wouldn't have pushed it.
I see. Right, Mr. Menu, we are grateful for your time. We know that you're busy and you're on the road traveling, so we'll leave you and then we'll have a chat again. So basically, Lawyer Menu has told us that his client withdrew the case on the grounds that he wanted to pursue the party's unity. Now, Abraham Amaliba, who is a member of the NDC's legal team, is also joining us. Counsel, good evening.
Good evening, and good evening to your viewers.
Thank you very much for joining us. Now, I'm sure that a lot of lobbying might have gone on to appeal to Mr. DDA to withdraw his case. What went on behind the scenes?
I am not in a position to know because I wouldn't be at all these places that you allege they were lobbying.
Right.
But what I know is that if you belong to a group, at a certain point and in some situations, you would have to allow your individual or parochial interest to be subsumed by the larger interest. And I think this is what informed him to withdraw the case from court. Looking at the Congress and also looking at what the party would lose if this Congress does not come off tomorrow, could be what has led to his decision to withdraw. But I do not think that, as far as I'm aware, that there was some lobbying behind the scenes.
Right. So what is the reaction or response of the party? I'm sure certainly that everyone is happy about this, but are there specific reactions which point to the fact that they're grateful to Mr. DDA for withdrawing this case?
Oh, yes. You notice that when the matter was withdrawn, the party did not push for costs against him. Normally, when you go to court and somebody wastes your time and brings you to court and turns around to say, okay, I'm withdrawing the case, then you tell the court that, look, he's brought me to court, I have filed documents, I have expended money, and so he should pay me those expenses. In this case, in the true spirit of, let me say, brotherliness, what we did was to say that, look, we are not going to press for cost. So that is to show that we, as a party, are also grateful to him for withdrawing the matter. So the party is geared up towards tomorrow, and once this is now behind us, we can now focus on the bigger picture that is going to happen on Saturday.
Right. So would you have been surprised if Mr. DDA pressed on with the case to see to its conclusion?
Yes. I would be, considering the issues that he tended to raise in court, knowing that what led to his disqualification was not as a result of bias against him. I would have been surprised if he pressed on and put some work in the some spanner in the way. I think that he might have also benefited from wise counseling from his lawyer as well as senior party members. So I would be surprised if he had pressed on because he was not looking at the issues. He was not on solid ground.
Right. So tell us, give us a little slight legal education. I'm not a lawyer. I'm sure many of our audiences would like to understand what go on in court on the day that you decide to withdraw. Is this something that you must discuss in advance before sitting resumes, or you can just walk in impromptu and announce your decision to withdraw?
In a civil matter, the right to withdraw a case or a matter which is pending before the court is a right that is exercised by the plaintiff. Now, the plaintiff may choose, and that is normally what happens, because you don't want to take your lawyer by surprise, would discuss these matters with his lawyer before the day of the court or before they go into court. So the lawyer normally will be abreast with what the client wants.
Right.
When they enter, the lawyer probably in the spirit of good neighborliness may also put in a word in terms of talking to his colleague lawyer on the other side. That is what I intend to do. But that's not mandatory. The lawyer could then decide to, when the case is called, tell the court that my lord, we do not intend to pursue this matter. We are withdrawing the matter with the option to reapply or with the option not to reapply. And when that is done, the court will now rule on the withdrawal.
Right, Mr. Maliba, we're grateful for your time on today's story. But we will hold you briefly as we will be delving into some angles of the politics behind the Congress being held in Kumasi and all, and we're hopeful that since you are an active member of the party, you could make a few comments before we let you go. So on the other line now, I have Dr. Kojo Opoku-Edu, who is a political scientist. Good evening, Doc, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, good evening.
Now, did you ever think that this court case could have gone its full course?
No, I doubted. I doubted because I thought that the party has invested a lot in terms of resources and time to get this far, and that it would be strange if behind the scenes they weren't doing enough to get the person to withdraw the case. In any case, I also thought that even if it went to court, the judges might consider who might the balance of inconvenience, who will be most inconvenienced if this decision goes the way of the applicant, and therefore decide for the Congress, to go on. So I'm not surprised at all. I suspect a lot of behind-the-scenes moves went on.
Right, so now that the way is clear, let me just shift from this whole court case and look at the venue for the Congress. The NDC chose Kumasi, which is, is seen as the MPP stronghold to hold this delegates Congress. Tactically, do you see this as a scheme by the NDC to now begin to gradually break down the hold of the MPP in its own backyard?
Yeah, I think it's more tactical than strategic. And, as you rightly said, Ashanti and Kumasi is the stronghold of the MPP. But in the last two elections, you've seen that the NDC has performed very well. And they believe, and most people do agree with them, that if they are able to make between 25 and 30% of the votes in Ashanti, then it will be a foregone conclusion. I mean, they will win. So I think that tactically they want to be here to establish, a greater presence, and also, to use it as a platform to mobilize further to win more seats in Ashanti.
Right, Dr. Opoku-Edu, quickly, I'll get a reaction from Mr. Abraham Amaliba, who is a legal member of the NDC legal team. Mr. Amaliba, I know that you possibly might not have been part of the preparations towards the Congress being held in Ashanti region, but as a political watcher and observer and an active member of your party, would you say that the decision to hold the NDC National Delegates Congress in an MPP stronghold is a loud statement to the MPP that you better watch out, we are coming to get you?
I may not have taken part in the decision to choose Kumasi, but I can confirm to you that I am a member of the legal team for the Congress.
That's right.
And so I'm part of the committee. There are several committees, and I'm part of the committee responsible for legal matters at the Congress. Now, Kumasi is strategic in the sense that the stronghold of the opposition is a place that normally you want to energize your supporters and energize the base. So, in terms of trying to secure more votes, I am of the view that Kumasi was chosen for strategic purposes. It is important to also indicate that Kumasi has so much in terms of votes, in terms of constituencies. They have the largest number of constituencies. And so, as a political party, we are able to energize that base and to sound a note of caution to our opponents that our party is still alive and our party is still in control. That, for me, will send shivers down the spines of our opponents. So, yes, it is for strategic purposes, and it will be used for several reasons. As one of it is to send signals to the opposition that the NDC is still vibrant.
I know that this is not the first time you held a major event in Kumasi that way, and that the previous times that you've held anything of this nature there, the response was amazing. How would you describe the response now? I'm sure that as a member of the planning committee, you may have been making trips to Kumasi back and forth. What's the posturing in Kumasi for you and your party?
You know, this Congress is coming on the heels of the president's visit to Kumasi to launch this airport development project, particularly with the expansion of the airport to an international airport where planes can now land there in the night. Now, what it means is that we are further deepening these interactions with the people of Kumasi. Already, the airport expansion is a credit, a plus to the NDC government. And so coming close to this launch or this development project, it is important that we do not allow the spirit to die.
Right.
And so the people of Kumasi would continuously feel the impact of the NDC as a government and also as a party.
Right.
And so these things were all planned in such a way as to ensure that the people of Kumasi would feel that the NDC government, even though it is an opposition stronghold, has not forgotten of them.
Right. Ms. Amaliba, we're grateful for your time on today's Big Story. Thank you very much. And Dr. Opoku-Edu, if you're still there, you have been in Kumasi, and so you are able to tell us whether this ambitious strategy of the NDC is working. Is it?
Yeah, let's wait and see. It's, as you know, part of the tactical dynamics, the moves and counter moves by the two parties to garner votes as they prepare to do battle in two years' time. And the NDC's strategy seems to me to be to hold on to the lead they had in the last election and, if possible, improve it. That's the way to go in their view. And to do that, Asante is very critical because they are not so much concerned, as I say it, with their core supporters, but with that persuadable number of voters who did vote for them to carry the day the other time. And to achieve that, Asante becomes critical. Already, in the very hotel I live, every room is booked. You can see, you can sense that something great is going to happen and so on. And so let's see what happens after the elections, because people are also interested in what happened during the elections itself, as to whether it will be peaceful or otherwise, and whether after the elections they'll be able to present Ghanaians with a critical mass of united leadership that can then be trusted to be given the vote. So potentially, I mean, they can do marvelous here, but it all depends on what happens on Saturday and the day after. So
you're saying that this strategy could backfire?
Yes, it could. It could. I mean, if they don't manage it well, the fact that you are doing in Kumasi offers you the potential, but there could be other destructive potentialities. One of them is what I just mentioned, the fact that if they are not able to organize it well, if there's rancor, and what happens in Koforidua is replicated here and so on, and then in the aftermath of the elections of the Congress, they are not able to present a united front, then it might not work in their interest. So while there is a huge potential there for them, they should also be mindful of the rather potential destructive potentialities that are similar once gets to know what is happening between the three contestants for the chairmanship and so on and so forth. So it is not a done deal. The potential is there and it can go either way.
Can go either way. Now let's look at Volta region. Volta region has been touted for many years as the World Bank of the ruling NDC, whilst of course the Ashanti region is for the NPP. But does it surprise you that the NPP in its strategy have not sought to perhaps penetrate the Volta region like the NDC has successfully done on 2 occasions now?
Yeah, I mean, it might be surprising, but I think what the parties are interested in now, more than anything else, is the persuadable voters, people that are persuadable. There are voters who are not persuadable, and no matter what you do, they will not vote for you.
So Volta region voters are not persuadable, you will say?
To a large extent, that's my personal view, to a large extent, because if you look at Ashanti and Kumasi in particular, over the years, by and large, the NDC has increased its votes. On the other hand, in the Volta region, then the NPP has been performing increasingly very poorly. And the only explanation for that is that their minds are made. They don't have enough persuadable voters. I stand to be corrected. I may be wrong, but that's my personal opinion. And so the NPP might, in its own strategy, think that, well, we need to spend our little resources where we can get the votes. It is not to say that they don't have votes in the Volta region. Neither is it to say that at some point they may not be fed up with the NDC. Already there are signs that the people are not really happy with what is going on. So they may increase their presence there. But I don't think that is for now.
All right. So when we look at the political structures, I do know that we've made an incredible inroads into growing our democracy up to this point. I mean, political activists have suggested that it is time for us to make major changes. Now, changes in the political structures, changes in the style of elections, perhaps even voting into power, local government representatives and all that. Now, as a political scientist, as you sit back and you monitor the progress of how we have done as a country in our governance systems, do you feel that the political parties should be making major changes as we go into 2016 elections in terms of strategy and in terms of approaches of how to appeal to the various voters to vote for them?
Yes, I think so. I mean, under normal circumstances, I would say that we need to be moving away from the patronage politics that we have in this country, or the populist politics, to a programmatic one where issues will be at the center of mobilization. Unfortunately, there was a study that was conducted after the 2012 elections, which says that the fact that Ghana's democracy is strengthening or consolidating is a convenient myth. And there are two reasons for that. The first reason is that we have voted register and there's block voting, or what might be called block voting. So block voting and voting register are appearing to be the third force in Ghanaian politics, which is not good for us. I think that by and large, we need to be moving away to programmatic appeal and mobilization.
Right.
That will take some time because already, as I said, the two political parties, notwithstanding the fact that they tag themselves to the Social and Liberal Democrats, respectively, are still formed along and mobilized along ethnic lines, largely, by and large. And so, whilst it is desirable that we shift away to programmatic appeal and mobilization, it is not immediately doable nor feasible because of what I've just referred to.
Right, Dr. Opoku-Edu, we are grateful for your time on today's Big Story. We'll be going back to Kumasi to speak to our correspondent, our reporter on the ground, to give us a fair view of what's happening there. But let's get onto the other telephone line and speak to Daniel Annan, who is Vice Chairman of the NDC. Good evening, sir.
Hi, good evening, my brother.
So, is the party ready?
Come again?
Is your party ready for Saturday?
Oh, yes. The party is ready for the Saturday Congress. As you are aware, we had a challenge. But thank God today that issue was resolved, and we are ready for Saturday.
All right, let me pause you briefly and then play back an interview we had with Kojoga Adawudu earlier on today at the court, and then we'll continue with our discussion.
The case was adjourned to today for them to file their necessary process so that we can argue and the court determine. We got to court this morning before even the case was called, that his lawyer called us and said he has a full instruction of his client to withdraw the matter. So when it was called, he told the court that he has a full instruction from the Honorable Member of Parliament to withdraw. So he withdrew. We also, as a gesture, Pacific gesture, we said we were not interested in cost for dragging us to court because we belong to the same family. So if he has come to terms to see that he should go through, has reflected and seen what he has or the reason he's been disqualified.
Right, that's Adawudu there. Mainly, most of what he said we have already captured earlier already. So, Danianan, I need to find out from you. I know that the party has been in the preparatory stages with contestants voicing their opinions and saying all sorts. I mean, Potufe has spoken, and there are all sorts that have been said. Now, as you go into Saturday's election, considering what appears to be the rift between the young and the old, do you feel that you're getting the right mix as you go into this election to be sure that you get the ingredients that you need to win for your party 2016?
I don't know what you meant by a risk. It's normal that as we go along, as we grow, you know, the young ones who also wish want to take over from their, you know, more experienced ones. I don't see that as a risk.
Right.
It is the way we blend it. I don't see that as a risk. Definitely, some of us will go up the line, and you need others to take over. So at a point in time, a good blend is necessary so that you nurture the young ones to take over when you are not there. So I don't personally see it as a risk.
That's fair. That's fair. Now, there are those who say that the NDC possibly is just organizing the National Delegates Congress in Ashanti region to poke its hands in the eyes of the opposition. Is there any tactical reason beyond just showing presence in Ashanti region why you keep going to Kumasi?
That's quite unfortunate statement. But apart from that, apart from it being unfortunate, you need to be strategic enough. If you think your Congress could bring something out of Ashanti region, why not? But let me also say that NDC has always, you know, mobilized its Congress throughout the region. It is more of a rotation kind of thing. So we've been moving from region to region, and we thought the only region we haven't been to was the Upper West. So this year, Upper West was on the table. But considering the size of the delegates, we realized facilities in WA will not be able to accommodate us.
Right.
And that is why we moved the Women's Wing election conference to WA, at least, so we can satisfy our policy of moving our congresses from region to region.
Right.
We came back to Kumasi for one simple reason, that we went there not quite long ago. There are facilities there, hotels, the stadium is large enough. We put a lot of consideration into choosing a central region, not necessarily because we want to put
your hands into their eyes. Right, that's fair, Daniel. I know also that you're contesting again. What are your chances? How do you evaluate your own chances? What new strategies are you going to put in?
I'm very confident I'll be through it. I'm very confident. Our party delegates at least know those who are working for the party and those who not work for the party. And considering what I've done for the party, I mean, I've been around almost all the regions, right? I've been accepted so much. I'm very confident I'll go through. Through the election.
Right, Daniel, we're grateful for your time on today's Big Story. Daniel Annan is the Vice Chairman of the NDC, and that's where we'll draw the curtains for today's Big Story. My name is Stephen NT, and thanks for staying with us. We'll be right back with the interactive segment. Do stay.